Welcome back to Wrestling Renaissance. My name is TJ Leo.
And I am Cole2K.
And this is the AEW All Out results show. And we have it was a doozy, so we have a lot to talk about. Kind of excited to talk about this one. This one was definitely controversial, shall we say? And I'm very interested to see how we did on our predictions because, from what I understand, both of us got two wrong. But which ones and how the points came out in the end, I'm very curious to find out. So let's
jump see if there's a and still or and new.
And new, yeah, indeed. Indeed. So let's kick things off with the show opener, which was MJF versus Daniel Garcia. It's sort of a grudge match, I guess is the best way of putting it. First thing to note about this match was that MJF came out to a custom intro, I guess is the best way of saying it, as he always does at these pay-per-views. And he had this gigantic sign or flag, whatever you want to call it, banner behind him that said "Thank me later." Is that one of his new catchphrases?
That's one of his new catchphrases, yeah. And I guess that's one of his new gimmicks is whenever he has an entrance for a match, he has a
banner
flag or a big banner. Because remember at All In, he had the U.S. flag with his face instead of the stars.
That's right.
Yeah, so I
funny.
guess that's his gimmick now, yeah.
It's entertaining. Don't know if you know this, but the flag, when they cut it to take it down, it fell on the crowd.
Oh, nice.
So they were all like pushing it forward. The camera only caught it when they had it, pushed over the barricade. But I thought that was pretty hilarious. Not dangerous at all to have a bunch of people get,
yeah.
Potentially
I did not catch that.
Good job, AEW. But this was
they saved the actual suffocation for later in the show, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. So this was an interesting match. MJF as usual tried to use cheap tactics and heel tricks to take advantage of Garcia. Especially
he's a heel.
He is a heel. Garcia's head was obviously bandaged from I guess he attacked him on Dynamite, I guess.
Yep, that was on Dynamite.
Yep. So MJF was targeting that head wound pretty severely, and at one point ripped off the bandage and bit his forehead and reopened up the wound.
Yep.
Pretty gross. Good old MJF.
Not the first bite of the night.
No, yeah, it was a theme. Cannibalism, the theme of AEW All Out. The match ended when Garcia set up for the corner tombstone. Is that his finisher, or is that just something he wanted to do to take out MJF?
That's what he wanted to do to take out MJF because that's what MJF did to him to take him out a few months ago.
Gotcha. But yeah, he wasn't able to land it. They went through the ringer with a bunch of crazy submission countering, which I thought was really well done. At one point, Garcia was locked in like a STF with a combination of like an octopus stretch. It was like both of his arms were stretched back, one of his legs was stretched back, and he still managed to use his only free limb to get to the bottom rope. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
At one point, they did a suplex where Garcia countered it, and they went over the top rope and both fell out of the ring. That looked nasty for MJF. He went fast.
That's a spot that Bret Hart used to do a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember seeing it with him, but none of them look quite as, I don't know, that looked kind of smooth.
It looked intense, for sure.
Yeah.
And MJF was fine, but it looked good. It looked real good.
Yeah, looked really good.
But in the end, MJF cheated to win. Did a low blow when the ref was not looking. And pinned him 1, 2, 3. That's all she wrote. However, after the match, MJF offered a handshake for some strange reason. Garcia saw through it, kicked MJF in the family jewels, spit in his face, and then picked him up and did the corner pile driver to take him out. And that's kind of how things wrapped up. Apparently, MJF is taking time off, so this was kind of a way to write him out for a little bit, which is a little weird because didn't he just recently return from injury?
It's probably been 4 months or so now.
Yeah.
I mean, was it Forbidden Door that he came back? And made his return?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been that long. So it's a little strange if he is taking time off to do that already. But as far as the match goes, I thought it was really good. I don't have a whole lot to say about it, other than it was maybe a little bit more violent than it needed to be, considering all the other super violent matches that were on this card. But it was a great opener.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it definitely set the tone for the night. As far as, the other matches that are on the card, this was a safe one to go first. There was a little bit of blood, but it was from a wound that was cut out, that was revisited instead of something new. So
new wounds.
New wounds, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had no problem with it. I wish, especially if MJF's gonna be taking time off, I would have rather seen Garcia go over, get the win. He did look strong after the fact, taking MJF out, but I still would have rather seen him win if in fact MJF is taking time out, and if it's true that Garcia has re-signed, because supposedly his contract is supposed to be up soon, and he may or may not have re-signed already, and he may or may not re-sign if he hasn't yet. So
I have to assume he's re-signed. I don't.
I would think so.
They made him look good, and they made him look good at the end. So, and he took MJF out there. I just can't see them, giving the rub to somebody who. It's not a win, but it kind of is, because he walked out of there and MJF didn't. So I just can't see them doing that.
But he walked out through the crowd for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah,
which I thought was odd.
He also had no entrance. He ran in when the banner came down during MJF's entrance and ambushed him.
Which makes sense, given the level of the feud and how personal it was.
The 2-week feud.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I give the match solid 7.
Yep, mine was 7.5.
Yeah, there you go.
Mine was 7.5. It was good.
How do we do on predictions?
As far as predictions, I wanted and I thought Garcia should win, so I put him for 2. You picked MJF for 3, so you started off on the right foot, 3-0.
So that was one of your 2 missteps.
That was one of my 2. Yep.
Alrighty. Well, let's move on to the next match, which was the Young Bucks versus Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, BCC. Yes, BCC.
Yes,
for
not the other one.
Yeah. For the AEW Tag Team Championship. Man, I don't have a lot to say about this match, honestly. I'm so torn with the Young Bucks at this point, man. Here's the way I look at them. Yeah, they're good in the ring. They are good. They have great timing. They're entertaining in specific ways. But they also do really... I don't even know what the word is, but just amateurish things sometimes that make me go, you have so many years of experience and you're doing this kind of stupid crap. For example, when they do the EVP trigger?
Yeah.
And they always point to the sky and say EVP trigger. And if they do that 3 times in a match and they always say it, it's like, okay, you don't need to do that. You can just knee him in the head. You don't have to say that every time. It just kind of gets stupid, after the first time. It's like the first time it's like, yeah, it's like the 3D, like they wouldn't do 3 3Ds in a match, the Deadlies, you know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
you don't repeat things like that in a wrestling match. And they did that for the EVP trigger, and I don't know whether it was which Jackson it was, but one of them says this all the time. See ya.
I don't even know. I still can't even tell which one's which. I don't even know which one's which.
I have no idea either. But one of them says that all the time, and he did the same thing in this match. See ya. And I'm just like, okay, if you say it once in a match, and you use it on a good move, cool. You say it like 6 times in a match, and I just don't. You just sound like an idiot. I don't know, man. They're kind of annoying.
Yep. I mean, I've always thought they were.
Yeah.
Even going way back to TNA when they were Generation Me, way back.
Oh, I didn't even know that. That's cool.
12, yeah.
Generation
when
Me.
They were originally in Generation Me. They were, I think, Max and Jeremy Buck were their names.
Max and Jeremy Buck.
Yeah.
Another Matt and the hell's the other one's name?
Nicholas.
Matt and Nick Jackson. That's really how much I watch AEW.
Yeah.
Just the pay-per-views. All right, let's talk about the match itself. They started off with a whole host of takedowns, counters. Trying to think of like staples that happened in this match, which we'll get to later.
I mean, Claudio, you got his running from corner to corner, giving the European uppercuts.
Yeah.
You got your swing. You got your big 20 rotation swing from Claudio. You got your super kicks. You got your
the double team moves.
The TK driver, pile driver from the corner. You got all those staples.
Yeah, it was nothing we haven't seen before, and I think that's kind of why I really don't remember a whole lot about it. It was just another Young Bucks match.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't the barn burner that I was kind of expecting out of these guys, but it was fine. It was just kind of there. I don't even think it needed to be on the card, quite honestly. It was just there.
No, I mean, there was no story, no heat, no.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, no thought of even the titles even changing hands.
Yeah, which we'll get into because the Bucks indeed defeated BCC. Clean win, no dirty tactics. They just won. I don't know much to say about it.
They hit one of them. No, Yuta got distracted by something, and one of the Bucks hit him from behind or rolled him up or something, and Claudio was being held back and couldn't make the save. And
yeah, that's true.
Kind of like a roll-up pin or something like that. Bucks win.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Nope.
Nothing crazy at all. I give it like 5.
Yep, that's exactly what mine was. 5 out of 10.
Average as hell.
Yep.
Which, if you look at like WWE's tag team wrestling, it was probably better than a lot of WWE tag team wrestling, but it still didn't need to be on the pay-per-view. It was a good Dynamite match.
Collision match.
Yeah, collision, sure. Yeah, it wasn't worth paying for, I think is the best way of putting it.
Nope. As far as picks go, like I said before, I didn't think the Bucks were going to win, or I didn't think the Bucks were going to lose. They had no business losing the titles to a team that was already 6-man trios champions. So I picked the Bucks for 4. You picked the BCC for 5.
Oh,
yeah.
That's a hurting one.
You missed that one.
That's a bad one. Okay.
So after 2, we both missed 1. I missed my 2 point. You missed your 5 point, and it was 4-3 for me.
Oh, all right. Still close. All right, I got a chance.
Yep.
All right. Next up was a much better match: Will Ospreay versus Pac. I'm never gonna pick one. It's just it's what his name is, the Bastard, for the International
Pac.
Championship. Pac. This was a fantastic match. These guys are crazy. Some of these moves that they did are just mind-blowing. Just mind-blowing. Ospreay did this crazy counter of the Hurricanrana at one point. There was a couple of corkscrew moonsaults out to the outside of the ring. There was a brainbuster at one point from the top rope. Oh, Pac did a German suplex on the apron to Ospreay, which looked nasty. Landed on the back of his head.
Oz Cutter move.
Yeah. So good. Yeah, these two are just like on another level. I don't personally like, or I shouldn't say I don't like Pac, but to me, Pac just has zero personality and zero charisma. But in the ring, he's phenomenal. So this was a banger. I loved this match.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, like you said, they're both crazy athletic, and you get those two together in the ring, and they're gonna do some crazy circus-looking stuff.
Circus.
That looks.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Cirque du Soleil
flipping
stuff,
everywhere.
but it does look. I mean, it looks hard hitting and pretty good.
Mm-hmm. The finish was pretty fantastic as well, with Ospreay hitting the hidden blade to the front, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Of Pac, which is normally from behind, so it looked a little bit more brutal going forward. That was a fantastic match. Just I mean, Ospreay can't have a bad match. He really can't. This dude is just insane.
Yep.
He's so good.
I've not seen a bad match from him since coming to AEW.
When I found out that guy has autism, I just about shat myself. I was like, holy mother of God. You are just savant level in the ring. That's crazy.
Yep.
So good. Lots of respect for Ospreay. I give the match, I'm gonna say a 9. I'm gonna go as high as a 9.
I'll go 8. Mainly because I just didn't see Pac winning at all. I mean, I saw no chance of Ospreay losing. So it took a little bit away just because it was so predictable.
That's fair.
Or the outcome was predictable.
That's fair. Yeah. What did you give it?
I gave it 7.5.
7.5? Okay. So I was a little bit more.
I gave it 7.5.
You know what? Yep. Yeah, I think you're kind of right. The outcome really didn't shock me, and it was kind of predictable. So maybe an 8. I think 9 might be a little bit too generous. I don't want to sound like Meltzer. I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. How do we do on our predictions on that one?
We both obviously picked Ospreay. I was most confident on this one. I gave it 7. You gave it 6.
Ooh. All right.
So one thing I'll point out, though, interesting coming out of it, and they showed Ricochet in the back a couple times.
Definitely going to build up towards a Will Ospreay Ricochet match for sure.
Yep. That would be between those two will be even crazier because they've got a history and they're Yeah,
I can't wait for that.
Speaking of Meltzer, that'll be about 12 stars from Meltzer.
I was gonna say that'll break the star rating scale for the 50th time.
And 2 new pairs of pants.
Yeah, he's gonna piss himself with joy.
Or something else.
Or something else. Hole number 2.
Yeah.
Number 2. All right. Moving on to the next match. This was only one of 2 women's matches on the card.
2 in a row. I think they did 2 in a row, didn't they?
No.
They did the Okada match after that.
Yeah. But this was the street fight between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. I'm conflicted on this match. I thought it was a great spot fest. I thought it was a good brutal match between these women. and you don't. At least I don't normally see this kind of brutality from women in women's wrestling, especially
No,
coming from WWE.
not unless you
So
see it on the indie, not unless you watch
yeah,
indies and see it on
exactly.
there.
I thought it started off a little weak, but it very quickly ramped up and got pretty damn good. They put their heart
Yeah.
into it. I thought it was really good. Highlights. Let's see. Willow power bombed Statlander through the announce table, the Spanish announce table, I think, early on in the match.
No, stat powerbomb Willow, I thought.
Was it Willow? It was one of the two.
Yeah.
Doing a power bomb. Um, what else did they do? I think Willow speared Chris Statlander through the barricade at one point.
Yeah.
That was pretty
They
cool.
fought up the ramp.
Yes, they fought up the ramp. Willow hit Statlander with a light tube. So I was fine.
With a pack of light tubes.
Funny.
And then Stat speared her off the ramp through a table.
Through a couple of tables on the outside of the ramp. That looked really good as well.
Yep.
Statlander bled,
Yep.
which I thought was crazy too. And then of course the big thing that everyone was talking about from that match was the inclusion of thumbtacks, which you don't see in women's wrestling on TV anyway. And Chris Statlander tried to do a bicycle kick a la kind of Booker T and landed crotch first in the thumbtacks.
Yeah, that was quite the spot.
I thought that was a little much. I don't think he needed to go that hard.
Nope.
But
I agree.
It looked like it hurt, and it probably did. But they could have easily just done a backdrop into him, or they didn't need. He didn't need to go there.
Yeah, that's probably the one thing that I just kind of shook my head at, and like, I wish
it's one
I
of
would have
those
done
like,
that.
oh yeah, I'm watching AEW. I forgot.
Yeah,
one of those kind of a moment. Yeah. AEW needs to like know when to go indie and when not to go indie, and stuff like, for me at least, stuff like the light tubes and something like that is like, okay, you're going too indie at this point.
I mean, light tubes in that situation were okay, I guess, or for me,
it was fine.
It
was just another thing that reminded me that I was watching AEW, because you just don't see that in WWE, which I guess that's what they're going for, but I just don't think it works. It's clearly not working for them to grow their audience.
I mean, it's for the sickos, right? That's who Tony books for.
Yeah, exactly. Statlander ended up beating Willow Nightingale using a metal steel chain to apply a submission, which looked nasty, by the way. It got caught in her mouth.
Because she wrapped it around her neck and then through the mouth.
Yeah, that looked nasty. Like, I was like, ooh, that could break some teeth right there. You could jack your jaw up pretty nasty. So that was a nasty match. And I thought it was really good for what it was, despite the, I don't know what you would call the thumbtack spot. Cheap? I don't know. It was kind of
lowbrow.
Yeah. Like, it was like, okay, like, this is the kind of stuff that non-wrestling fans look at it and go, okay, no.
Yeah.
Like, no. So
I mean, that's not something that I would show my non-wrestling fan friend for a street fight because of that spot right there.
Yeah, definitely not. That being said, I was entertained.
Yep.
I think Stoke came out with a "Rest in Peace, New Jack" written on his chair, which I thought was interesting.
Very nice. Yeah.
Didn't he pass away a while ago now, or is it?
It's been
a few months.
I think it's been a couple years.
Oh, a couple of years. Oh, snap!
Yeah.
Why did he do that specifically? Was it the town that they were in, or?
I don't know. I don't know why it would have been Chicago.
Yeah, like, why was it significant
suburbs
for now?
I don't know.
Yeah. There was a. Let's see. But yeah, there was some biting in this match too. So the cannibalism continued with this match. I would give it for what it was. You know, like I it's hard to rate matches like this because it's like this wasn't like a wrestling match. This was a fight. This was meant to be a spot fest, right? So, in terms of it being a spot fest, I'd give it an 8.
That's exactly what I gave it.
Yeah, I think it was great.
Yep. I mean, hopefully this is it for the feud. I mean, this was, like I said last week, this feud has been mostly on either Collision or Rampage, so I've kind of missed a lot of it. But this should be the blow off for this, and I mean, this is a good way to. I mean, this is a good blow off match. A good street fight blow off. I didn't know, not knowing who was going to win.
Speaking of which, segue. How'd we do?
Yep. I picked Willow. I thought the babyface was going to win. I put 3 on it. You picked Stat for 1 point.
Oh, so I gained a little bit with that win, but not much.
So as of this match, I am up 11-10.
Oh, it's a nail biter.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I do find it interesting that Statlander won. My gut is telling me that they're kind of done pushing Willow for the time being, and that Statlander's going to get a little bit of a push to one of the titles. We'll kind of have to see where they're going with them.
Yep.
All right, next up, we have the Continental Championship, which we did not do predictions on because at the time of recording, they still hadn't picked Okada's opponents yet. So, however, we did predict the opponents. We both looked at the Collision contenders matches,
qualifiers,
yeah, and picked it out a winner from each one, and we nailed it.
Yep, we nailed it.
We nailed it. So it was Okada defending against Orange Cassidy, Konosuke Takeshita.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so good. No,
yes.
I'm not. I still have to slow down. And Mark Briscoe. I thought this match was pretty good for what it was. Again, this is another match where there's no feud. It's just throw it out there and have some fun, kids.
And no rules.
And no rules. Another no rules match, yeah, with it being a fatal 4-way. First pin wins.
Yep.
Or first submission, one of the two.
Yes.
Yes. It started again. This is another match that kind of started off slow, but by the end of it, they were cooking with gas. There was a couple of really fun spots. There was a weird spot where they had like a it was Orange Cassidy. I think he did like a double hurricanrana.
Yeah, he's done that a few times.
Yeah, I don't like that.
No,
he's too small to make that look good. Like Takeshita and Okada are like these big dudes, and he's just this tiny. Like Orange Cassidy's ripped. I'm not gonna say he's not strong. There you go.
Like my reference last week.
That's funny. But it didn't look good. It didn't look good at all. But I am a huge fan of Orange Cassidy, so I can't be too harsh on him. At one point, Orange Cassidy and Mark Briscoe were alone in the ring, and they both did the fake punching before they went to town on each other. I thought that was
spot's getting kind of old.
It is. It was pretty funny seeing them do it back and forth to each other. And I think there was a pretty long chain of pinfall attempts between the two of them as well. That was actually pretty cool.
Yep.
They were just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It kept going. It's pretty cool. Takeshita's counter to the orange punch was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, it was. You're right. Yeah.
So there was a lot of cool moments in the match. And I think I don't want to say the purpose of the match. Clearly the match was kind of thrown together, but I think if anything comes out of this match, it's pretty clear that they're building towards Okada versus Takeshita.
Yes. I was going to point that out.
So
that's definitely. Probably where it should go. I mean, they're like you said, they're two. I mean, of the four people, those two are the biggest, probably most credible,
Yeah.
professional wrestlers. I know Briscoe's really good, but he's more of a, I don't know, indie style type
Yeah.
type guy.
Okada ended up with the win, pinning Cassidy after a Rainmaker. Really sucks for Orange Cassidy. He really was the only one who could take the pinfall in this match. They're building towards Okada versus Takeshita, so Takeshita couldn't get pinned. They're not going to pin Mark Briscoe because he's the ROH champion, so Cassidy was kind of the casualty.
I mean, I honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't Mark Briscoe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
With him having the championship, I just don't think they would have been able to do that and then not have Okada go after the ROH championship at that point. You know what I mean?
I think they just kind of devalue ROH on AEW TV so much that
you're surprised that they just didn't do it again.
yeah. That I just expected Briscoe to take the loss.
Yeah, I think I've said it before on the show before, but I really hate the cross promotion crap. It's okay once in a while, but they do it so often at this point that I'm just like,
yeah, there's way
what
too
goes
much.
where and like why does I'm just like I just don't care anymore. I'm just like whatever. Like separate the shows or close one of them. It's just, and merge the rosters. Like it's getting annoying. How many cross promotions there are, especially with the championships. I'm like, why was the ROH champion in a continental championship match? Like I just don't.
Right.
I don't know. I don't get it. Kind of the same thing, honestly, with Pac versus Will Ospreay. I was like, Pac is a trios champion. Why is he going after like what? This whole like cross champion going for other championships crap just kind of devalues the titles in my opinion. It's like there's too many titles to begin with, and now you have so many titles that you have champions going after other champions. It's just
right.
I just don't care, you know.
Yep.
As far as the match itself goes, I don't know. I give it a 7. It was good for what it was.
Yeah. 7.5.
Yeah. How do we do on our prediction? Or we didn't do a prediction for this one. That's right.
Yep, we did not do a prediction on this one. Now, I would have picked Okada.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah.
Given it was thrown together, Okada makes the most sense here. All right. Moving on. We have Mercedes Moné versus Hikaru Shida. I don't want to sound like I'm down on Mercedes Moné on this show.
I'll take it.
All right.
I do want to sound like I'm down on Mercedes. She is. I have no problem saying that.
Okay, go for it.
She is. I mean, she's just not what we thought she was in WWE. No. She doesn't have a Bayley, a Becky, a Charlotte, a Bianca to make her look as good as Sasha Banks did. To me.
No, I agree. I agree. I loved Sasha when she was in WWE, but you're right. She had such good competition that she rose to their level, and now she's been facing people that are at her level or slightly below her level,
right?
And now it's just resulting in just like forgettable matches that don't move the needle.
And for me, her character is just so
abrasive.
I don't know, abrasive. I don't know the right word for it. Annoying.
Yeah.
It's just completely annoying.
I like abrasive because the whole package is just annoying. Her theme song sucks. The fact that she still comes out to the same hip movement that she did in WWE, like you haven't changed at all.
And her little dance thing.
Yeah, her little
the entire time. Yeah,
like everything's the same. You haven't changed at all. You haven't evolved at all. And she's full of herself, and I don't get it. I don't get why.
No.
And I mean, this is clearly a Tony, seeing something that's not there,
anymore.
anymore. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to say about the match other than it was just a 5. I just didn't give a shit. I
It
didn't care.
It was clunky looking.
Yeah.
They kind of threw potatoes at each other. Seems like Mercedes kind of stiffed Sheeta once or twice, and Sheeta responded, and Mercedes didn't really like it. Sheeta kind of, returned the favor and kind of hit her harder than Mercedes hit her. So it was just kind of clunky looking. And
yeah. There was a kendo stick brought in at one point for some reason.
For reasons.
For reasons.
I thought Camille was going to make her way back down, or was going to make her way down in the ring to interfere to get Mercedes the win. That would have made sense to me, but she didn't. Mercedes ended up winning clean.
Clean win.
Apparently they were saying on commentary. I don't remember it. I can go back and watch it, but commentary said several times talking about how Mercedes doesn't need Camille. So at this point, why have Camille with?
Yeah, what's the point?
Mercedes for
Yeah.
I thought the Mercedes and Sheeta match from a month ago was better than this one. When Mercedes had her tune-up match on Dynamite,
yeah.
It was it was 2 weeks before All In.
Yeah.
They had a match then, and I thought that one was better than what this was.
Yeah. It's so weird to me because Sasha Banks references Eddie Guerrero and just these classic wrestlers, and she can see what all of us sees, which is wrestlers who reinvent themselves. I mean, you're in the same company as Chris Jericho. Why are you still just the same? You're still just the boss. I don't know. I don't get it. She could be better and she could be something more, but she's stuck on this this gimmick that I just don't care about anymore. It's so old.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was weird that she came out to gear that was almost identical to Zelina Vega's at Backlash. Yep. It was almost exactly the same.
Yeah, and I mean it's the same gear she had for All In, I think, because I remember pointing that out in the Discord, the Wrestling Nation Zone Discord. Shout out to those peeps.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I pointed it out then. It was to look exactly like Zelina, and she came out again with the same gear and.
Yeah, clearly. She must have heard people say that and just doesn't care. So, I don't know. It's very strange.
She doesn't have a husband to make gear for her anymore, I guess. So she got to recycle gear.
Well, she's got the money to pay someone to do it.
Well, yeah, she does. Yeah,
we're getting brutal.
She does for that. And she needs a new finisher. That finisher just does not work. It does not look good.
What does she call it now? Because it was called the bank statement before.
Well, before it was the bank statement was a backcracker or whatever it was called.
Like a crossface almost.
Yeah, with crossface. Now it's some kind of, I don't know, backpack swirl into a face bump or I don't know.
Oh yeah, the moneymaker. Yeah.
Yeah, the moneymaker.
Which doesn't. It's fine. Yeah.
The one she did on Britt 2 weeks ago and the one she did on Sheeta on Saturday just did not look good at all.
For her old finisher, for sure.
Yep.
It's ironic that the only thing that she has changed didn't do,
It's
not for the better.
Did not do well. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I gave it a 5. But what did you give it a rating?
A 4. I give it a 4. Okay. So I was just not into the match at all.
Yeah, that's fair.
At all.
Predictions?
We both thought it was Mercedes to win. I picked 5 and you picked 4.
Oh man, it's not looking good for me. Okay.
So right now we're at 16-14.
Oh, I keep trailing. Gotta make a move. All right.
Yep.
It's not looking good though. All right. The next up was surprisingly the World Championship. Brian Danielson defending against Jack Perry. They saved the lights out steel cage match for the main event, which we'll talk about later. So the match itself, I thought was excellent. I thought it was really good. I know there's a lot of hate on Jack Perry, and I know we talked about it last week of why does he deserve the championship match just because he beat Darby Allin. You know, I get all of that. But I do think Jack Perry is a decent wrestler. I do think he has good matches. Even though his predication to ultra violence is strange to me. It was still a great match. What do you think?
Oh, I was waiting for a but.
No, that was it.
It was
not
good.
counting what happened after, which we'll talk about later, but the actual match itself.
It was good. I mean, like you said, he's not known as a great wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we mentioned it last week, but with it being in Chicago
Mm-hmm.
and the heat that it would generate because of the whole CM Punk thing,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, could have been a reason why he got this match against Danielson.
Which it didn't really. I think the only CM Punk chant during the show was during the Young Bucks match, if I remember correctly. It may have been during this match, but it was very subtle.
Yeah, it might have been during this match. You know, the whole chanting of Crimea River was during this match too.
Right.
You know, CM Punk reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was a good match. It's hard for Danielson to have a bad match.
Yeah.
You know, he makes you feel emotion of wanting him to win. You know, wanting to see him win.
Yep.
You know, whether that's something he picked up at another company, WWE or what, but he definitely can get emotion out of people to root for him when he's a babyface.
Yep, absolutely.
So I thought it was a good match. You know, good psychology, good moves, and good story told in the ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it made Jack Perry actually look really good.
Yeah.
It made him look pretty strong.
Yeah.
I don't really trying to think of like highlights from the match. I mean, there wasn't really like any particular like specific spots or anything that I would say were out of this world, but the actual just back and forth and the technical wrestling and the showcase itself between the two was really good, and just the story playing it up. I think there was another similar Hulk up moment from when Danielson had at All In. I can't talk. Where I think it was at All In. Yeah, at All In, where he was like, I love you to his kids.
Yeah.
But he did something similar to that in this match. I'm not. It's not clicking what that was. But I do remember him like.
I don't remember
taking a bunch of hits and like hulking up, and
I don't
know if it was. It was the slaps.
Oh yeah.
Jack Perry slapped him in the face, and then just kept slapping him in the face over and over and over and over and over. That was really cool. And then all of a sudden, Brian's like, "That's all you got?" And then just does like a super slap you'd see on that UFC.
Power slap.
Power slap, just boom.
Yeah.
And it does it again. I'm like, oh, that was sick. Yeah, that was a good moment in the match. Yeah, I thought it was a really entertaining match. Now, obviously, the match itself was not the story of the match, because
I mean, during the match you had the interference though too.
Who came down? Oh, it was BCC. No.
Yeah.
No,
it was the Bucks.
Yeah.
It was the Bucks at first.
Right.
And then BCC came out.
Yeah, Yuta
and ran them off.
Really. Yeah.
Then Luchasaurus came down.
Was that after the match though?
No.
That was during the match?
During the match. Yeah, that was during the match.
Oh yes, that's right. And then Moxley came down at that point, and
because Christian's music hit and he walked. I don't know why he was walking down the ring with Mama Wayne and Nick Wayne, And
Mama
as soon
Wayne.
as they get down to the Mama Wayne, yeah.
Mama Wayne.
Then when they get down to the bottom of the ramp, that's when Claudio and Moxley came out and got in their way. Yeah.
And Pac joined him as well. All
Yeah,
four of
and
them were
Pac
there.
too.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that was after the match, pretty sure. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty sure that was after the match because I remember him holding his belt up high.
Okay.
And then they all joined him in the ring. And then some weird and fucked up shit happened. To put it mildly. Was it Moxley who attacked Brian first? Or was it...
No, it was the European uppercut out of
Right, it was
nowhere
Claudio.
from
Yes.
Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio uppercutted Brian, and then Pac held Yuta back because I guess Yuta was just as surprised as Brian was. And while that was happening, Moxley put a plastic bag over Bryan Danielson's head to suffocate him and kill him?
Yes.
I
assume
guess
so. Yeah. For reasons.
Yeah, and
maybe we'll find out on Wednesday.
Yeah, and Yuta was crying. The crowd was chanting, "This is murder."
Yeah, this is murder. I like that.
Yeah. I thought this was maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen in pro wrestling. I thought it was stupid. You're seriously gonna you're seriously just gonna put a bag over someone's head and suffocate them, and the security is just gonna do nothing. Really.
I mean, you went from
committing murder on national television.
You went from raising his hand, raising his arm as a team to putting a bag over his head, trying to kill him in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It
was stupid.
We've seen that in wrestling before a lot of years ago, but that was in the middle of a long-standing feud between two people.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what the reason is for the betrayal. Because it's not just Moxley, it's Moxley, Claudio, and Pac. And where does Yuta fit into all of this?
And Yuta's part of the 6-man tag team champions with Pac and
Claudio. Yeah. And clearly Danielson's not dead. So what was the point of the bag exactly? It was just shock value, and it was stupid. I thought it was just absolutely stupid.
Yeah, I mean, they did not need a bag over the head to make that turn.
No, they could have done a million other things.
Yeah.
It was stupid. And I had this conversation with, I think I've had this conversation probably 6 times at this point, but you know, Tony sits there and he wonders why their audience isn't growing. It's because of stupid shit like this.
Does he wonder that, though? Does he care?
I have no idea. Genuinely, I have no idea what he's thinking at this point, other than he's an idiot. That's what I think. Like, just a fucking moron. I just. Do you really think that your audience is going to grow doing that? Do you really think that advertisers are going to want their product advertised on your show where you're suffocating a dude with a plastic bag? Like, it was stupid. Oh, I hated it.
Me too. I mean, I saw no redeeming storyline, reasoning, justification to do that.
No.
That night. Maybe in 2 months when, it's a big blood feud. Yeah.
To start it, it's like you've already escalated it to killing.
Right.
Like, where are you gonna go from here?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah, that was stupid. So the match itself, I will separate from that garbage, and I will give the match an 8.
I gave it the same reason I took away a little bit from the Ospreay Pac match.
Because you knew that.
I took a little bit away from this one because you knew Danielson was going to win.
That's fair.
Match itself only, I gave it 6.5.
Okay.
I took, probably a point and a half away from it just because of knowing that Danielson was going to win. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the actual match itself was great.
Yep. Good quality.
If you include the ending, then I give it like a 2. I thought it was just horrendous.
Yeah.
Just like I said, maybe the worst thing I've seen in wrestling since
That was up there.
That it's going to be up there with like Katie Vick, and
Yeah.
just garbage wrestling. You know what I mean? All right.
Yep.
How we do on predictions on that one?
We were both really confident on this one. I gave Danielson 6, and you gave Danielson 7.
It's not looking good. It's
So you made up.
not looking good for me.
You made up 1 point. So right now I'm at 22, and you're at 21.
Yeah, not looking good for me. Pretty sure I know
Well,
where this is heading.
it came down to the last match.
Yeah, it did, which was Adam Page versus Swerve Strickland in a lights out cage match. So the lights out part is basically just that it's unsanctioned. There was no. That doesn't really mean it. It didn't mean anything other than that.
And they did explain it. They did explain it during the show, saying how technically the
we don't recognize
world title match. Yeah, they were saying the world title match is technically the main event.
Mm-hmm.
Although the Swerve and Page match was going to go last, but because that is unsanctioned, that technically doesn't count as a match.
Yeah. And they are not responsible for anything that happens to either of the combatants.
And they did the whole, the lights, turn the lights out to signify the end of the official show, and then turn the lights back on, and whatever happens, happens.
Yep.
So that part did make sense.
Yeah, that part.
I will give him. Yep, I'll give him a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, that part was very, very cool. I agree. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is Page's music from the show new? It's not what he had it all in, I don't think.
It sounded a lot more ominous and dark.
Yeah, like
from what I remember.
I loved it at All Out. I thought it was really good. But I don't remember that being his music at all in. I remember it being just like generic and stupid, unless it was just because it was in a stadium and it was harder to hear. But I love that ominous theme. It's really cool. Yeah, and then Swerve came out. Swerve didn't wait for the cage to come down and went after Page. He tried to trap Page's head on the apron when the cage was coming down to crush his head.
Yeah,
which I thought was fantastic. Which makes me sound hypocritical because I'm like, well, in one match we had a guy with a bag on his head, and in this match, he tried to crush his head with steel.
Yeah.
That's okay, but not the bag. Right. But I mean, there's a big difference between a bag over a dude's head and teasing that this head's gonna get squished by steel, which didn't happen, obviously. Prince Nana had thrown a table and several weapons and a cooler in the ring.
Yeah, like a little storage tote.
Yeah. And then they got back in the ring and the cage came down. One of the first, obviously there was some regular wrestling, but then they got right into the super violence, which is what these two are really known for in their matches. Started off with the old classic staple gun, stapling each other in the chests. Damn, that's gotta hurt, man. And Strickland just sits there and he's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Picks a couple of them out. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Then he takes the staple gun and staples a couple staples to his head, to Adam's head, through some pictures and some crazy stuff there. Some other wrestling stuff was in between there. They kind of went back and forth. What else?
When you say wrestling, it's not like drop toe holds and headlocks.
No.
Stuff like that. It's
slams and punches.
Yeah, it's slams and punches.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There was a really cool. There was a really cool moment where Swerve set up a table and stomped Page into the table from the top rope, which looked really good.
That looked really cool.
Thought that was awesome. There was also the concrete cinder
The
block
cinder
spot,
block.
which was everyone, of course, would think it's gimmicked, like WWE does, where it breaks away. But this was definitely not gimmicked. This was a real cinder block.
Both of the spots looked really, really bad.
Brutal. So the first one was
Yeah.
Hangman or Swerve did some sort of like backdrop or like a. I'm not sure what the move was specifically, but it was a.
It's what Shane Helms used to do in WWE.
Vertebreaker.
The vertebraker.
Yeah, he did the vertebreaker into the and he scraped the back of his lower
Yeah,
back.
just thinking about it makes me cringe.
Just cut it up real good.
And then they showed it right afterwards.
Yeah,
to show that it's not gimmicked.
Nope, it's definitely not gimmicked. And then I still was kind of thinking it was gimmicked at that point, but then Adam Page turns around and power bombs Swerve right on top of the cinder block. It's not one of these like grazes that you see in WWE or like gimmicked in any way. Just right
on his lower back.
Lower back, right into the cinder block, bounces off of it. Cinder block doesn't give an inch.
Nope.
Oh, that looked brutal. That looked rough. That made me feel bad for him.
Yep.
That was good. Again, don't know if it's necessary, but it did look fucking real good. Looked nasty.
They had the wooden spike, the piece of wood that was supposedly from Swerve's house that burned down, that Page brought.
Yeah, the spike. Yeah, the piece of wood. Yeah. Yeah, that was okay.
Yep. Having that in it made sense.
Yeah, it was a cool gimmick. The piece of wood didn't look sharp at all, but it,
But it made sense for the story in the match because it was part of the story.
Yeah, he just takes it out and he's like, starts jamming it in Adam's head. That was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. They'd gone back and forth for a few minutes trying to use it on each other, and then finally, I think Page used it on Swerve, right?
Yep.
Or Swerve was, yeah.
Yeah, Swerve was able to get it from him and jam it in his head a few times.
Yeah.
And then the ending of the match was all kinds of psycho. For some strange reason, Adam brings out a hypodermic needle.
Yeah.
Rips out Swerve's grill that he wears on his teeth. And then shoves the needle in his bottom lip. And I think he was...
It looked like it was like through his...
Yeah, it was like down here. It was like...
it looked like he was trying to fish hook him.
Yeah, it looks like he was trying to shove it through so that it would come out the other side, on the outside of him.
Yeah, that's what I thought he was trying to do.
Yeah, it didn't work. I don't think it worked. It didn't go all the way through. It just kind of stopped and stuck in his lower lip, basically on the inside of his mouth. And then he just kind of stood there for a little bit. And then Adam went and got a chair and slammed it over Swerve's head, which looked real nasty. Clearly the chair was gimmicked, though. But it did look nasty.
It doesn't matter. I mean, it's...
Still a chair shot to the head.
Yeah, it's still a chair shot to the head.
Yep. And at that point, the ref had seen enough, called it. And your winner is Adam Page. Yeah.
Winner by knockout.
Yeah. The needle spot was stupid and ridiculous and not needed.
The way that you feel about the plastic bag from the last match is the way that I feel about the needle.
Yeah, 100%. It was stupid.
That was just...
It made no sense.
The dumbest thing.
Like, what are you doing? Ooh, you shoved a needle in his lip. Like, okay. Was there something in the needle, or were you just, like...
Or were you just trying to pierce his lip?
Yeah, like, it just didn't make any sense. It was just stupid. It was, again, it was shock value for the sake of shock value and not something that made any sense whatsoever. In a street fight, no one would be like, I'm going to take this needle and shove it in your lip.
Right.
Like, it was just, on that level, it was stupid. Again, this is another situation where apparently Swerve is taking time off, and this was used as a way to write him off TV.
Yep. So,
which is unfortunate because I'm pretty sure that I picked Swerve to win this one because I didn't think that he would lose 2 matches in a row.
And I picked Page because Page had not beat Swerve at all in this feud, which I guess technically he still hasn't because that match was
Never happened.
never happened. It was unsanctioned.
Oh God, does that mean that they're gonna have another match when he comes
I
back?
hope not. I
Yeah.
mean, what are they going to do for another match? A gun? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
one of them's just gonna shoot the other one on live television.
and then they'll kick out at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll kick at it too, yeah. Oh my
yeah,
God. That's
yeah.
I can see that. Um good Lord. Yeah. So taking the needle spot away, I'd give this a solid 8.
Me
Keeping the
too.
needle spot in, I give it a 6. Just because of how just stupid the needle was.
I think the rest of it was strong enough that it would warrant a 7 for me. Wouldn't I wouldn't drop it down 2. I would
Yeah.
just drop it down to a 7. But yep, I did have Page winning for
Which
one point.
means
If Swerve had won, you would have won, but Page won, so that means
and
you're a winner.
still.
And new, because you won Bash in
Oh
Berlin.
yeah, that's right. Damn it, we keep passing
Yep.
it back and forth.
We do keep passing it back and forth, yep. So, once again, you're a winner. Me.
Damn it. Me.
Yes. Me.
I like that. Once again, you're a winner. Me.
Me.
I like it.
Score of 23-21. I think this was our closest one yet.
Man. Yeah, that was a close one. Damn.
Yep.
Wow. So we both got the same amount of predictions correct. It just came down to our point allotment.
Yep.
Damn.
You missed your 5 point and your 2 point, and I missed my 3 point and my 2 point.
Ooh. Damn. Yep. I did not distribute my points properly, as it were.
No.
Not at all. All right. So looking at the overall pay-per-view, I would say the show was pretty good. It had 2 duds for me. You know, the Mercedes Moné match was just couldn't care less, and the tag team match I just couldn't care less. But the rest of it was worth watching, even if it was over the top in 2 places and overly gruesome. And I don't know, man. I really wish AEW would learn from their mistakes. You know, like I don't think that they consider them mistakes. I think they're just like, yeah, this is what our hardcore audience wants. And it's like, yeah, that's what your hardcore audience wants. They want shock value, but you're never going to grow. You are never going to grow doing that crap. You're just not going to. It's not going to happen.
I mean, I think with this I don't remember all the matches they had last year, but I mean, if they want, or if they're trying to have like one pay-per-view a year where it's, I guess, like what WWE had back in the day, Extreme Rules pay-per-view, where they're all extreme, no rules matches, Extreme Rules, blood, whatever, where it's nothing but hardcore matches, then they can do that with All Out. I mean, All Out could mean like, they're going all out with the violence, with the blood, whatever. Yeah. If they want to do that once a year, I mean, I guess that makes some kind of sense. I mean, they haven't had a pay-per-view like that where there's been that much that much violence and just shock stuff. And I don't really think ever. So
that's true.
I mean, hopefully this is just a one-off pay-per-view where they do this kind of stuff, and hopefully not to where it's going to be a regular thing, where it's going to turn into what ECW used to be, 25 years plus ago.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, the needle spot and the bag was just stupid, not needed. Makes the company look like a bunch of morons. It was just
too much for me.
Yeah, agreed. I would give the overall show, I'm debating between a 7 and an 8. Probably a 7, I'm thinking. Between the 2 dud matches and the 2 just absolutely stupid spots that just made me feel like I was watching just like a blood sport, I think a 7's fair.
I think 6 for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I think, those spots just took that much away.
Yeah, Yeah.
Just took that much away from it.
Agreed. All right. Well, that is our show. We're going to be taking quite a few weeks off because we just got through just pay-per-view in PLE City over the last several
Yep.
weeks. The next PLE or pay-per-view is not until October 5th for WWE Bad Blood.
And that would be October 5th.
Yeah.
Is that weekend.
So we'll be back 3 or 4 days before that date to record our predictions for WWE Bad Blood, and I'll see if I can get my title back. We'll see if I can pass it back to me. We'll continue to play hot potato with it. Or
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see who gets the first successful title defense. Because
there has not been a title defense.
Nope.
A successful one.
We are both transitional champions thus far.
Yep.
All right. That has been the show. If you want to reach me, I am on Twitter at COE_TJ Leo.
I am at Cole2K. That's CULL, the number 2, letter K.
And we'll see you guys in a few weeks. If you ever want to write into the show, it's co.op.podcasts@gmail.com. That's it for Wrestling Renaissance. We'll see you next time.
Good time.